Hello, my beautiful people. It's been a while. It's been 6 weeks to be exact. And I have really missed going live. This is one of the best parts of my week. You know, I love people. I like connecting. I love the tarot. I love sharing. So, as much as I loved what I was doing, which was teaching the tarot, which is why I couldn't go live because it was on a Tuesday night, I still miss being here with you guys. So thank you so much for the opportunity to once again just share my passion, share what I love, share what is an amazing thing for me. And I think reading the tarot and teaching the tarot are like some of my favorite things to do, I've got some beautiful online courses on that as well. If anybody's interested, I'll put the links in the description. But just for now, this is just about being here together, sharing some positive vibes. Today is Earth Day, which is amazing because we live on this incredible planet, which is our home. It's all that we have while we are here in human form. And I think today is just a great day to celebrate life and the beauty of life and the positivity of life. And it's a wonderful day for me to go live after 6 weeks because it is celebrating the beauty of life. It's celebrating Earth. It's celebrating being on this magical planet. And, there are so many things that we can complain about on this planet. But I think if we really just... Hello, beautiful Janice. I am well. I hope you're well too. I think if for a moment we just breathe and we just see the magic of Earth for what it is, the potential that it makes possible for us while we are on this planet, in order to have this human journey, because you're not your body, you're just inside of your body. But in order to have this experience, we need this planet, and this planet gives us so much. There are so many things that people always complain about Earth, but I personally think that Earth is the most magical planet that there is. That's what I personally think, And I really like being here. And I really like being in human form. And I really like to get the human experience. And I know it can really suck sometimes, But in many ways, that's also part of the magic, because you discover something that doesn't work. And it sort of activates something else in you. So, hey Nazima, you start learning something new, or you connect with someone new, or you move, or you change, and the magic just keeps on unfolding, And everybody has many different ideas about what Earth is and what it isn't and what it should be and shouldn't be. And I think one of the things I like about Earth the most is the variety, It's like a buffet. Everything is so the same, but it's all different, People and different ideas and different traditions and practices and religions and styles and focus and points of view. And I mean, even for us, what is right for you today is not right tomorrow, and vice versa. It's a ever-changing, ever-evolutionary place. And I personally think that that is really magical. I really do. And I think with that being said, if anybody wants some cards, let's just get into it. I'm very excited because I have been recording all day. I've been recording some lessons for my regression hypnosis students that they're receiving tomorrow. And then, hello Adrian. And then I've also recorded some zodiac readings, YouTube readings for all the different zodiacs. I've done for everybody except for Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. So not the water signs, but I'll do that tomorrow. And it will go live tomorrow at 4 o'clock on my YouTube channel. I know that I have been a little bit out of commission there for a while. But life has been very crazy there for a little while. It has been so insane for some time. And, there were all these things that were happening with the planets. And the energy was just crazy. Was just absolutely crazy. And being quite an intuitive, sensitive energy, I do get I do sometimes get hit very hard by everything that is happening. But then in the same token, I consider myself so incredibly blessed that I live in this beautiful, beautiful space where, sorry, I can just, like I've got this beautiful courtyard that is enclosed. So I can be outside at night, I can watch the stars and nobody sees me and I don't see anybody. So it's beautiful, it's wonderful, you know. And sometimes in life we have to look at what the benefits are. And I just want to show for all of us, I was just looking at the bottom of the deck and it's got the star energy, which is Aquarius energy, you know. And we are in the age of Aquarius. And remember, these ages are long. Hello, Ellen. So, you know, it's been crazy there for a minute, but I think now we are much more on track again, and it feels amazing and it feels incredible. And even for those of you that are interested, I am hosting my new moon journey. This it starts, so basically Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and it's new moon in Taurus, you know. And Taurus is a very decisive energy. Taurus is the energy that when they decided they're going to do it, it's going to happen, come what may, you know. So I am quite intrigued to join that particular energy. I think it's going to be amazing. So let's draw a card for Nazima. Beautiful Nazima. I hope that you are doing well. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Jenna says, hi Adrian, I am blessed but lost or thought it would get better. It will get better, my beautiful soul. It will get better. I know that sometimes it feels like, you know, that we are at the end of the road, got you all in. But, you know, it does get better. It really, really does, you know. So for Nazima, and as always, whoever's getting the message is for everybody else as well, okay? All right. So, Nazima, you've got the 7 of Wands. And for some reason, Spirit is like, there is not an energy, so I don't know. Like, let's just use a completely different deck then. I don't know. I really don't know. So let's see, let's use a completely different deck. For Nazima, we had a card popping around, the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups is the energy that lets you know that if you want life to work out to your benefit, there are many, many things that people are going to tell you. They're going to tell you, you need to do this and that, and you need to take this course, you have to have this in order, and that in order, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. But the 4 of Cups is saying to you, like, you know, we are all emotional beings. Everybody has emotions, you know. People have this idea that, like, the air signs, for example, they don't have that many emotions. They're more logical in the head and that sort of thing. We all have emotions. We just experience and express it differently. Okay, and so this is a card that is encouraging you to honor your emotions. And if you, Nazima, and whoever hears this, because this is for whoever hears it, myself included, it is that if you can, you know, despite the chaos that might be happening in the world, and despite the doom and gloom that everybody might be prophesizing is happening in the world, if you can make your aim to maintain your emotions in a balanced way, then everything is perfectly fine. Hello, beautiful Paula. You know, then everything is beautifully fine. Then everything flowers, all right? And this is a reminder that just because everybody, for example, says that the world is going down the drain, that doesn't have to be your experience. That doesn't have to be your experience in the slightest, okay? So if you want to be abundant, if you want to be prosperous, if you want to grow, if you want to maintain, if you want to feel happiness and peace and all of those beautiful, beautiful things, Nazima and all of us, make inner peace your focus. Make your own wellness, your own well-being your focus. You know, we focus so much on everything and everyone else that they must be good. You know, our kids and our parents and our partners and our colleagues and our staff and our neighbors and our, I mean, literally the list just goes on and on and on. That so often we just end up being so tired from just taking care of everybody, when in fact your job in this world predominantly, even before your kids, is to take care of yourself. Because when you take care of yourself, you'd even be able to take better care of your kids and your partners and your parents and everybody else on the list. Yes? So one of the best ways in which we can actually love other people is to prioritize ourselves. Because when we are good, we just, we have a lot of energy and we've got a lot of ingenuity, and all of those amazing things. It just flows to us, inspiration and solutions and helpful people and everything and everyone. So beautiful Nazima and everybody else, make personal well-being your goal. And when you are well, when you are truly well, everything else around you will be well as well. Because here's the simple truth. Your reality, your world, your experience of life on this planet is a mirror reflection of who you are. And once you begin to accept that, things will change. Fundamentally. Fundamentally. Hello, beautiful Trina. Bruno's actually, where is he? He's sleeping down here. There can be miracles, I suppose. All right, Nazima, so Helene Grobbelaar, let's see what we have for you. Hello, Chantal. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Helene Grobbelaar. You have got the Hangman. Beautiful, beautiful energy. The Hangman is such a cool energy, and you usually see, okay, they don't show it on this card, but usually the character has like gray hair. So I suppose I can be a Hangman, But what it really speaks about, it speaks about the eternal wisdom that we all carry inside of us. All of us, And that is what I often say to people, even with things like intuitive ability and psychic ability and all these sort of things. We all have it. We have just been programmed and brainwashed through so many years that we don't have it or we can't access it or it's just for an elite few and that sort of thing. Sorry, that we sort of suppress that natural ability inside of us. But isn't it wonderful that we are living in a time and space where humanity is awakening to their potential once again? Isn't it incredible that we really get to live through this time? And I want you to remember also that, especially when you maybe have some reservations about natural psychic ability and stuff like that, through the last couple of 1,000 years, so many people have been prosecuted and burnt and, their heads were like hacked off and stuff like that for speaking to a rose, that sort of thing, laying in the forest on their back and just being at peace. So in our pathology, there is a lot of fear when it does come to psychic ability and stuff like that as well. When I first started, I was pretty petrified. What will people say and what will people think and all that sort of stuff. As Chantal says, witch wounds, And it takes a while to work through it. But once you work through it, you're not a victim of it anymore. So Elaine, whatever it is that you are trying to resolve, or whatever it is that you are trying to figure out, there is a time to really go about, hello Chrissy, there's a time to go about conscientiously figuring things out yourself. And there is a time to surrender. And when we surrender, we're not giving our power away. When we surrender, we actually tap into the broader consciousness, the broader power of who we are. Because we are all part of everything. And everything is part of us. There is no separation. We have all been created from the one spark of light, the light of creation. Call it a Big Bang, call it whatever you want to call it. And everything is within the spark of light. We are part of it all. There is no separation. And isn't it incredible that we live in a time where it's becoming more and more accepted that that is just how it is. Like the sun is going to come up in the morning. I think it's wonderful to live in this time. And so beautiful Helene, sorry, whatever it is that might be bothering you, surrender to source. Hand over. This is a space where we sometimes get to, and sometimes because I can be quite stubborn, I get to a point where I sometimes just say, what, source? I've tried my best. I don't know what else to do. You show me. Okay? Elaine says, thank you. I had a conversation about acting on your gut feeling intuition with someone just 2 days ago. And what did this person say? What did the person say? I'm very interested to hear that. Okay? The more, here's the thing. The less we try to do, and the more we can just be, the more amazingly life works out. Incredible things just come our way, right people come our way, everything just works out. It's just beautiful. Okay? So Elaine, surrender. If you're looking for a solution, if you're looking for a teacher, if you're looking for a home, if you're looking for a car, if you're looking for whatever, just surrender. Let the universe show you what is the best way. You know, the thing is, a lot of times people will say, we don't have to live on this planet alone. You can't, even if you want to. You know, because it's all you. And, you know, the sooner you can take that realistically, like it is what it is. You see it, you see a pen, it's a reflection of me. You see this Zambak lip stuff, it's a reflection of me. You see a card, it's a reflection of me. Everything is a reflection of you. Everything. And here's the thing which is so fascinating and so amazing, is that your mind takes impulses in. And then your brain deciphers it. And then your brain says, oh, that's a pen. But this is just molecules. That's all it is. Everything. Yourself included. Every part of you. What we see and what we don't see, it's all just molecules. In different energetic vibrations, so expressing itself in different ways. It is all the same thing. There is no separation. And the moment you can even start to come on board with that, a lot of your problems just go away. Because a lot of our problems are created by our fears, and most of our fears are inherited from our parents, from our ancestors, you know. And a lot of times when I mention this to people, they will be like, but almost like they're mad at their parents. But then the parents also just inherited their beliefs from their parents and their parents and their parents, you know. And here's the thing, you can be very, very mad about things, very mad about things. Or you can accept that it is what it is, and you have a choice. Because being mad and being frustrated and blaming, that is a choice. But what if you chose to say, you know what, I choose to forgive. I choose to be the one that makes a change. A lot of people speak about being the generational healer and family line and whatever until, you know, push comes to shove. Then it's a different story. Will you be the same? And when I say you, I'm talking about all of you whenever you see this. You know? Talking about me as well. I was telling somebody a story the other day. I went to a dinner and I was telling them the story about some lady that will like trip the power and only switch hers on. And I was getting so worked up in the story and I felt so in my power, you know. And I was like, what are you doing? You're like in the middle of a sentence. I was like, what are you doing? Look at you taking pride in the fact that you told another person off so badly. What are you doing? And sometimes we have to catch ourselves in mid-sentence like that. And then it's easy to say, no, I'm just telling a story. You know, it doesn't mean anything. Everything means something. Nothing is exempt from the creative powers of life. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. Janice. Oh, that card just popped around. Who else wants a card? Let me know. Janice, you got the Temperance card. It just popped around. The Sagittarius energy. Temperance energy is a beautiful, beautiful energy because Temperance energy in traditional tarot, you will see it's this character that sort of has this water cups that they are throwing, which is sort of like how you maintain your emotions. And one foot is like in the water and one foot is like on the riverbank. And what that is saying to you is that it doesn't really matter in life which way you decide to go. Because we often look at the pros and cons so much. Spirit is with you either way. So, Janice, you want to know, whatever you choose, the only real preferential choice here is what your preference is. Spirit is with you either way. You decide to stay, no worries. You decide to go, no worries. Spirit is with you wherever you go, whichever direction you choose to take. You are never alone. You are never without support. So don't be afraid to make a decision. A lot of times in life, we get so stuck between a rock and a hard place because we don't make a decision. And here's the thing. Think of it from the universe's perspective, where everything is possible. So you're like, well, I may want that. Life's like, okay, that's what you want. Let's start working on that. Or maybe I want that. Okay, so you want that. Let's start working on that. But I might still want this. Okay, sure. So let's keep this open. But then there's also that. Okay, I'm not going to... Now, just imagine, this is like when you've got a computer and you open a lot of tabs. It starts to slow the thing down. And so now you sit and wait and you're like, okay, I'm going to let life show me which way I'm supposed to go. Life's like I'm taking my direction from you, not the other way around. Because you are the consciousness that's having the experience. And that is the game here on planet Earth. You decide what you want and that is what you get. In the same token, it is like opening all these computer tabs and then you sit in front of the computer and you say, okay, let's see what the computer is going to do. Eventually the computer is going to go to sleep. That's what the computer is going to do. And that is when we feel stuck in life. Until you press a button again, whoops, it goes back up to life. Everything is still open. Okay, what do you want? No, I'm not going to use this now. No, I'm not going to use this now. Okay, I'm going to do this now. There you've got that energy going and flowing like nobody's business. It's the same thing with life. Okay? Do you want to think of the creative forces of life? Or God if you want. God is like a laptop. It's going to give you what you put in. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah? And this is sometimes where we have maybe lessons to learn. You know, the laptop has the ability to do maybe incredible graphic work. But if you ain't got no Photoshop on there or Canva or whatever it is that you use, then it can't do that. It has the ability to do it, but it can't do it because the software is not uploaded. It's like the Matrix where they upload the software. And as we go through life, we continually want to keep on focusing on what is the software that we still need, what is the software that we don't need. Being present in your life, being aware in your life. What do you want? What do you truly want? You know, my Theta Healing coach has this hypothesis that once you stop dreaming, you start dying, and I definitely agree with that. Because this is a realm of dreams. We are living a dream. We are the awakened dreamers. And when you stop dreaming, there's no point of being in the dream because then you're non-participating. Here's something that I want to recommend for you if you really, really, really want your life to abundantly grow. Focus on getting good sleep. Keep a sleep journal. And you say that you want to awake in your dream. So you want to be aware of the fact that you are quote-unquote dreaming. Yeah? It may take a while to get there, but at some point you'll be able to see yourself laying in the bed sleeping. Now, I think it might be a little bit freaky when you sort of see it initially. I've always had it, so it was never really freaky to me, but you know, it might be a little freaky initially when you see. But once you've seen it a couple of times, it doesn't really matter that much. A big benefit when you practice wakeful sleeping is that you get deeper rest, but you also you lose your fear of death. You lose your fear of life. Yeah, because a lot of people are afraid of living. They don't want to die, but they're also afraid of living. Your manifestation becomes easier. Because in the dream state, you can see it, you can think it, you can have it. And the mind doesn't understand the difference between what we would call reality and what we would call make-believe. It's the same thing. Why? Because it's the same thing. So when you practice wakefulness in your dream state, and you can start very simple, keep a diary. How do you feel when you wake up? What did you remember? A hallway, whatever, how do you feel when you wake up? You just write that down. You go to sleep, you put in the intention to remember your dream. Or you got like a question. What is my soul agreement or soul contract or life contract with this person? Now you might get a clarity in your dream, or halfway through the day something might just click. Because we see being awake and being asleep as two separate things. But it's all the same thing. It's all the same creation. There is no separation. Yeah? Another thing to help you with the dream state is, about 2 hours before you sleep, to get away from the blue screens, the phones and the laptops and all that sort of stuff. Just initially when you practice how to do it, after a while it gets very easy. I live alone, so one of my favorite things to do at night is to watch a comedy or something. I was actually watching some Modern Family earlier on. I laughed so much the tea literally went out of my mouth. It's better than watching some gory film about people getting slashed to pieces with a knife. We want to stimulate our mind. Yeah? So that your life can be good. Yes? You might be, like for example, sometimes I feel quite lonely. But just because I'm lonely doesn't mean that I have to be miserable and make myself more miserable and be destructive towards myself and, sort of reflect it onto other people. Because guess what? That's going to make me more miserable. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to say to yourself, this is how I'm feeling. I'm acknowledging that, but this is not what I'm going to live out. Yeah? All right. So, who was that now? Janice. Make a choice. Go for it. If it doesn't work out, you make another choice. Boom. Mic drop. We're so afraid of making choice. We're so afraid of making a mistake that we often end up doing nothing. And I can tell you one thing for certain, when you speak about what do highly successful people have in common, they just go for stuff. They don't think too much. They don't plan too much. Because here's the thing, sometimes when you think too much and plan too much, your opportunity passes you by, or you logically reason yourself out of this thing. Or you start, stagnating, taking forever. Sometimes you just do. Hello, beautiful Petra. Sometimes you just do. And you just follow life as you get it. Because as much as we plan, we can't really predict life in any case. So it's better just to roll with it. And to see where it takes you. And to let it surprise you. Life can surprise you in the most beautiful ways. If you let it. Very important. If you let it. Why wouldn't you let it? You know what I'm saying? Chantal, Chrissy, and then Petra. Petra, it's nice to see you. It's been a while. So this is for Chantal. Chantal, you've got the Tower, which is Mars energy. Mars is the energy of war. Okay? If you're dealing with somebody that really loves their drama, they're going to be like, oh God. Oh my goodness, I hope your armor is strong. And if that is going to be the point of view from which you are coming, then that is going to be your experience. I have come to find in life that when we have these experiences where it seems like life is, slapping you through the face with a piece of hot iron, if you really look at it, many times before, there was that little voice in your head that said, maybe you shouldn't do this, or maybe you should do that, or maybe that's better, or be careful of this, be mindful of this person, it's time to step away. But we don't listen. And then we say we don't have intuition. Everybody has intuition. If you can see somebody, if you can be in a space and you see somebody coming towards you, and they are all full of tears and snot and they're all sad, and you say to them, you know, you can see they're upset, you're like, what's wrong? That's intuition. Because you are present, you are here, and because you are here, you are able to observe what is going on around you. The spiritual realm isn't somewhere out there. It's here. This is the spiritual realm. You are the realm. You are both the observer and the one experiencing everything else. And observing yourself, observing that you are observing. It's all you. You looking at your phone right now, whatever it is that you are looking at, seeing me talk to you. We are collectively making this up. I am looking at my screen now and I see that I'm live and I see there's people online and they are writing and stuff. But I'm making it up because I am you and you are me. We are collectively doing the same thing. It's a collective consciousness. We are not separate. We are dreaming each other into being. And here's the thing. If life is a dream, if life is truly a dream, if it's truly a dream, then anything is possible. End of story, full stop. You know, I sometimes like to really play with the simulation. So I went walking with my dog Bruno the other night, and so Greyton is a bit of a quiet place, but Greyton is one of those older places where everything is very open, so you can see right into people's houses. You know, it was about 8 o'clock at night. So we walked down this one road all the way down. And anybody who knows Greyton, it's called Vine Road. It's quite long, all the way down to the end of Queen Street. And we could see into everybody's houses. We didn't see one single person. Not one. Not a single car passed us by. Not one. Then we walk up Queen Street, and I said, it's interesting. And we walk up Oak Street. Same story. You can look into everybody's houses. I'm one of the few houses you can't see into because I just don't want to. So do you see that in a place where everybody's so open and you can see right into their lives? Well, suppose if you open these windows you do, but you can't see into my space. That's how you can manifest. Just because everybody has that reality doesn't mean that it has to be your reality, and it doesn't mean, hello energy wave healing, and it doesn't mean that because you have a different experience of reality from other people, that it has to separate you from them. This is the mistake that we often make. This is my trajectory of life. This is how I want to live. That is separating me from other people. That is fear mentality. Okay? I'm not throwing any mudslings here in the slightest. But that is pretty much how religion operates. We are the ones that are right. They are the ones that are wrong. For us to be right, they need to be wrong. That sort of thing. But why can't everybody just be right? If we are all making this up, is it really of such substantial importance that one person manifests a caravan and another person manifests a mansion and another person manifests a boat? Hey, Nikita. You know? A lot of fear in this world comes from the idea that we think that everybody wants what we want. But that is definitely not the case. What everybody does want is peace and the freedom to be and the freedom to be themselves. You know? But I can pretty much guarantee you, not everybody wants to be a tarot reader and a hypnotherapist and all these sort of things that I do. Not everybody does. And that is perfectly all right. You know? That is why we took individualized consciousness. And now we've got this individualized consciousness and we try to make everybody the same as us, which I think on a deeper level speaks to our awareness that we are the same. But if we make all of this up, then what does it really matter what we make up? You know, that is what I love so much about one of the foundational principles of Buddhism, is that as long as what you do doesn't, harm another person, Baba, do your thing. You know, do your thing. Chantal says that she feels alone on a path. And if you feel alone on your path, this would explain why you get this card, because that is that experience where you feel alone. And when we feel alone, then it feels like the world is attacking us. It's just how it is. But what if this feeling of aloneness is your soul saying to you, hey, here's an opportunity for you to feel different. So it makes you focus in a different direction. What if things falling apart is things shifting into place? We have all these beautiful bumper sticker things that we say to each other. But what if we really start to apply it and take it seriously? What if your world is truly a mirror reflection of your inner world? And it's not just something cute to say, but it's an actuality. Then Chantal and everybody else, what is your loneliness showing you? And here's something very powerful, and I want you all to listen to me very nicely. This is a golden ticket to healing and manifestation. It's beautiful. It's pretty much what I do in my Theta Healing sessions. By the way, pay for 4 and get a 5th one free. That what is the problem? How does it make you feel? Don't worry so much about details. The universe, your nervous system, your brain, it doesn't understand words. It understands feeling, vibration. How does it feel? When is the first time you felt this way? That the Creator showed you. So you breathe, you ground, you connect to Creator's light, you fill yourself with Creator's light. What is the feeling? And you're compassionate with yourself. You're not looking for problems. You're not looking for the origin of problems. You are looking for beliefs and why patterns are the way that they are. It may sound like the same thing, but trust me when I tell you, the approach is vastly different. So is the experience, so is the outcome. How do I feel? When is the first time I felt that way? What does it give me holding on to this? Why does my mind hold on to this? It gets something. And a lot of times it makes you independent. It makes you strong. It makes you capable. You don't need anybody. But then where does it come from? What does it protect you from? Because usually it gives you safety. I've had some trouble with my feet getting very sore for some time now. It started when I moved to Greyton. When I started to really become happy in Greyton. And I had to really work at my beliefs with happiness because there was a part inside of me that believed that happiness doesn't last for me. So I had to do a lot of work in myself, in my beliefs. So where did this come from, this feet thing? Because I said, great, okay, where does it come from? Because it's pretty annoying, And I was taken back to when I was very, very young. I was probably about 4, which means it's almost like 40 years ago. Your mind doesn't have a concept of time, not even remotely. That is why we inherit beliefs from our parents and our ancestral lineages. Your consciousness doesn't even know that you are a different person. It's just consciousness that's expanding, And I got that in the middle of the night. I was running after this person. I was very desperate and I was sad and anxious and everything. And the rocks were hurting my feet. So when I said, where does this come from? I could feel, this is the same sensation as that. So, I've got nothing against medical doctors. I think the medical profession is amazing and we should see it for the miracle that it is. But if I went to the doctor, they would have looked for a problem. And so here's the thing. Whatever belief you have within yourself long enough is eventually, not initially, eventually, as a final step, going to manifest as a physical experience in your body. And there is a time where you don't just want to go grab for the tablets and get this drip and that procedure and cut this out and that sort of stuff. Where does it come from? So the clients that come and see me that have all these hectic diseases and whatever it is that they have, or can't find love, or can make money but can't hold on to money, and any of those things. I don't try to fix any of that. We can do manifestations and vision boards and whatever. You can do that afterwards for positive reinforcement. First, you want to know, where does it come from? What is the belief in your subconscious that's being maintained? Because if there is, for example, a belief of lack and limitation, if you somehow then manage to get the money, you will manifest something different that will mirror that. So a lot of times we think we've got a lot of problems, so it must be a lot of beliefs, but a lot of times it's the same belief manifesting in different ways. And here's the thing, the more different ways the belief manifests itself in, the more your mind wants to get rid of it. Because in the same way that you get sick of the belief gets sick of you. Like, I want to cut this out now, I want to go, you know? But, so for me, because I was becoming happy, the deep belief in my mind was in contradiction with the feeling of home and happiness. And because I didn't listen to it, it started to show up in the body as body memory. But what did I get from it? Why did my subconscious do that? Because my subconscious was trying to get me out of the space that I now decide to settle in, because it doesn't see safety as a safe, or home as a safe thing, because it may not last. It may set you up for disappointment. And here's the thing, the subconscious mind will do anything that it can to avoid pain, to avoid suffering. Anything. So to any of you that might be out there, that might be, having things beef with exes, people, whoever, they did this to me, they did that to me, I can't forgive this, I can't move past that, they did me in, I will never allow anybody to do that to me ever again. I don't need anyone, I'm all alright on my own, I don't need love, which is the biggest lie. We all need love. It is just a simple truth, we need it in different ways, but we all need it. In the same way that we all need to breathe. So any of those things that are going on, your mind is speaking that because it's trying to prevent you from being hurt again. It's trying to keep you safe. And that is how we often end up alone, because we can have a belief that people will hurt us. People will take advantage of us. It can't be a coincidence that if the same thing happens to you all the time, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you are always the doormat. It has to be you. It cannot not be you. And, once you start getting over this whole idea of feeling oh so bad because, this person was telling me off, okay, cool. But then the question is it you that's getting upset? Or is it the subconscious that's getting upset? Because if you consider what that person said or did for too long, then you can only remain in avoidance for so long. Then you have to start thinking about it. You know what I mean? And then the awareness comes up. Trust me when I tell you, it's better to take responsibility for your patterns. So beautiful, Chantel, and everybody else. You are experiencing this tower moment at the moment. Here's the thing. I call it the benefit of the problem. Don't just try to move on. I've been running for most of my life. Most of my life. Now, I do have a very nomadic sort of thing about me. I can live 3 months here, 6 months there. Very happy to do that. And at some point, I really had to ask myself, why is it so difficult for me to just set down roots, create a show me? And I remembered since I was very, very young, this was the plan for my life. I'm going to buy myself a caravan, and then I will just drive it wherever I want to go and park it wherever I want to go. But in the interim, obviously the world has changed a little bit. It's not so safe anymore, so I can't do that. And I realized that deep inside of me, I had a huge aggravation towards people in the world in the way that it is right now, because I can't be in my caravan. A belief can be that simple. Yet it can be that debilitating. It doesn't always have to be this huge traumatic experience that happens. An example that I like to make, usually with my regression hypnosis students, is that the mind takes everything very literally. So, if you, for example, let's say you are 3 months old, and you are like in this crib, cot, whatever, and you know, all the kids are playing around and you are crying because you want to play with them as well. You don't know that you're 3 months old. You're just feeling excluded. Got no idea why. All the mind understands is people are having fun over here, you over here, nobody cares about you. Then somebody comes into the room and hands everybody lollipops. Now you don't know what a lollipop is. But what you are picking up, somebody's coming into the room, an authoritative figure, a bigger person, is coming into the room, is giving everybody lollipops, everybody's very happy and you are excluded. So the mind understands that authority figures do great things for other people and I'm the one that is excluded. And then you live that experience of life because that is what you believe. Beliefs are very powerful, very powerful. You know, it forms the experience of our lives. It's our programming. So if you want your life to change, you want to start looking at your beliefs because they determine your experience of life. You know. So then me, running as a little boy, you know, in this experience, that is why my feet got sore. And that would also, you know, form part of, for example, because at the time with my sore feet, I felt very lonely. And then I felt really sorry for myself because now I've got a dog and I need to walk it every day. And now I need to walk the dog with my sore feet. And at some point I was like, okay, I need to figure out what's going on here. Now I get angry at the fact that I have to walk the dog, building more animosity on top of it. And what does the subconscious mind get? Now you do something that you like and you see how it makes you suffer. Good things make you suffer. It's that black and white. Yeah. Chrissy, how you doing? How's everybody doing? How you doing? Let's see what we have. The Lovers. The Lover's energy is Gemini energy. The Lover's energy is actually twin flame energy. And by twin flame energy, I am referring to your personal relationship with your higher self, with your broader soul, with your oversoul, with your broader consciousness. That relationship will determine how everything in your life plays out, including romance, friendship, all of those things. Okay? Energy wave healing, I've got you. Here's a simple truth. It may not be the most popular truth because it's always easier when you can blame somebody else. But the experiences in life that you have, with money, with your career, with your job, with disappointments, breaking your foot, spraining your foot, love, family, all of those things. All of that, with the exception of absolutely nothing, is a true reflection of your inner world. So whilst we don't condone the stuff that people do, when we get so mad at someone else that we just want to stick a knife in their chest, you are deepening the belief that is not serving to your benefit. That is why, as I said earlier on, I was busy telling the story about how I was telling this woman off and she should not fuck with me, and you know. And in the middle of it, I was like, what are you doing? Right now, your ego is having such a party because you are telling other people how you told this other person off. And when I really, really, really had to be honest with myself, I had to be honest that I was making a massive assumption. I didn't give this woman an opportunity to speak, and I may have been wrong. I could have been wrong. Because sometimes things are so obvious and then they're not. Because we also see things through our emotions. I was angry. So I was seeing it through that filter. Maybe I was wrong. You know? Maybe I was wrong. And you know, when you say, okay, so why did I act that way? What is it that was triggered inside of me? Because I wasn't just unhappy about that. What did it trigger inside of me? And when you start looking at what your trigger triggered, But by now you're getting somewhere. Now you're getting somewhere. Alright? Because the other person is reflecting a belief to you about you. You made them up. You made them up. And when you make peace with whatever the thing is, you either have a different relationship with them, or they're just somehow not in your life. You know? They're just somehow not in your life. You can live in the same vicinity. Have you ever noticed that sometimes we live very close to people? Go to the same store, the same whatever. We never see each other. Can work in the same workplace, in the same office complex, and just literally never see each other. Because your vibration is not in alignment. This doesn't need to be a good or a bad thing. This is what it is. Until for whatever reason your vibration is in alignment again. That is how life works. And when we can get that, because it's really simple, it's not always easy to get, but it really is that simple. Life is really simple. We make it so complicated. As Louise Hay said, what you put out is what comes back to you. Your thoughts create your life. And if you can get that, miracles can happen. Because when you, for example, read the book of, like A Course in Miracles, the book starts off by telling you that miracles is nothing special. Miracles is just a confirmation that you are in a vibrational flow that you prefer. You know? In the same way that trouble just comes to you, miracles can just come to you. Your vibration determines it, and your vibration is determined by your beliefs. And there's amazing things that you can do. I mean, crystal healing, Reiki, sound healing, those are all amazing things. But a lot of times it is just keeping a volatile situation manageable. And I got this a couple of years ago when because at some point, listen, life was very tough. And I used to go for these beautiful crystal healing sessions, which were amazing. I mean, it's like you are walking on a cloud. It's incredible. But then I realized to myself, but 2 months ago, I was here and I felt the same way. And this morning when I arrived for my session, I felt like crap. So am I going to feel like crap again in 2 months? And there must be a way in which must learn to be able to maintain this within myself. And that's how the change came about. You know? I was saying to myself, there must be something different. Because this means that I'm always dependent on someone else or something else in order to feel good. And it doesn't even last. Crystals are great. Reiki, I've got a beautiful Reiki course coming up, and obviously I'm going to teach it in a slightly less pie in the sky sort of way. I ain't got time for the pie in the sky stuff. You know? I think sometimes we make things too fluffy, bells and whistles. I've always been very interested in why does it work. And we are water. Well, mostly water. We are basically atoms. And here's the thing with atoms, which is mostly water, that whatever vibration you send through it, it's how it's going to adapt. Yes? Water itself, it can be flowing, it can be ice, it can be steam, it can be visible, it can be invisible, but it's still the same thing. It may have changed its form, like energy, but it's still the same thing. Which begs the question, is water actually water? You know what I mean? Because when it's a gas, is it water? But then can you really say that it's not water? Because when you cool it down, it becomes water again. That's the same thing with us. We are so changeable. And you grow new cells every single day. Every day. And if you can just program those new cells to be a different way, then you will be different. You know, it's when clients work with me and they take those packages where you kind of like, you buy 4 and you get a 5th one free, which can be a tarot reading. You can give it to a client, you can give it away. But I normally say give it to yourself. You know? And I often hear this, and people have this idea that their problem is so big and it's going to take them so long and they don't think anything is going to help. And blah. I'm going to tell you straight, if you didn't think it's going to help, you wouldn't be here. At some level, you have to believe it will. And it does. You know? Your life begins to change. It is about reprogramming who you are. Not the world, not the politicians, not the economy. Many things have happened before. Even if the economy crashed, it won't be the first time in history. It's happened many times before, and we've all been fine. Yeah? Gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't allow yourself to be terrified by this and that, and this person says this, and this person says that. So beautiful, Chrissy, and everybody else. You square out your relationship with your higher self, with your higher consciousness. Here's a way to know when you are there. When you are truly happy with being on this planet. I'm not saying that you must be cool with everything, you know, but you're really happy to be here and you can see it for the magic that it is. That is when you're ready to graduate from it. But when you have the thing of like, I'm never coming back to this planet. It's my last time here. Never, never, ever. Done with this place. Horrible. Sucks. Terrible. Never coming here. You'll be coming back. You'll be coming back. Because you have unfinished business here. But when your business is resolved, it's like when we were unhappy with someone else. And you will see them go like, you know. But when you made peace with them, when you truly made peace with them, it really doesn't matter whether they are there or not. You can still be civil towards them. You will even be grateful towards them because you can see the lesson that they taught you. And one of the ways, just before I move on, one of the ways in which we sabotage ourselves most successfully on this planet is by holding on to the pain when somebody else hurt us, especially in romance. Then you can't find love again. Or you keep on finding these, these regrets that don't seem to have any good intentions for you. It's not them, it's you. They're reflecting you. You know? Life is you. Life is not about you. Life is you. You are life. That's it. This is your reality. Hello, Candace. I go around and I say like I live in a beautiful world and my world is so friendly and people are kind in my world. And I started saying that when that wasn't even my experience yet. Yet fast forward just a couple of months, that is my daily experience. People are very friendly where I live. Very kind, very compassionate. And you might speak to someone else that might tell you something completely different. And they would be correct and I would be correct. Because there are multiple possibilities in the same space. So the people that are not going to be nice and the people that's going to be horrible, we just don't cross paths. And on the days when we do cross paths, I ask myself, what is going on here? What is going on here? What have I started to believe in? What are they reflecting back to me about myself? And sometimes initially it's not nice, easy to do that. But the more you do it, you get to see the results. If you are lonely, overwhelmed, in lack, in limitation, in scarcity, no support, that was a big one for me. What is it showing to me about me? Here's the thing, when we block something, let's say you block love, yeah? Done with the fucker, block it, I don't need anyone, that sort of thing. You are essentially blocking yourself from your own life force. And that will affect everything. Your relationship with everyone, your work experience, your good luck, your bad luck, your mediocre luck, what you get in traffic, The person who steals your car out of all the 150 other cars, or bump it or scratch it or whatever, you know. The money, the everything. There is no such a thing as blocking just one thing. You block one thing, you block everything. You release one thing, you release the flow for everything more. You feel me? So when you want love, what do you actually want? What is the feeling that you want? When you want money, when you want a house, what is the feeling that you want? And please let me give you a very hot tip over here. We live in this planet of creation, so you can want stuff, no problem. You can want a 6-story mansion, castle, whatever, against the mountain. You can have it, why not? It's like Lego blocks, you can build whatever you want. You can have it, no problem. It's a lot of beliefs that are in your way, but you can clear those beliefs. But if you want to manifest things so that those things are going to make you feel happy, safe, achieved, let me tell you now already, it ain't going to work. They're not going to give you those things. Okay? They're not going to give you those things. A house, fame, money, even a marriage or a relationship, anything that you are looking to manifest to make you feel better, it's not going to happen. But when you can say, well, I want it because I like it, I like the space or whatever, it feels cool, you know. Yeah, sure, by all means, have it. But, you know, you can even see things like, for example, let's say you've got a nice flashy car, you know. Drive down in your car. People respecting my ass. You know? Nice watch and sunglasses. Feeling ever so empowered. But now what happens if there's a strong gush of wind and then the wind blows that glasses off your face? Now you're so unhappy. You know? Somebody scratches your car or whatever, and suddenly you don't feel so powerful and strong anymore. Which means you were a bit of a fly on a hot plate. Because the thing with material stuff is they always have the potential to leave. Absolutely always. You can have the most amazing house, and then you maybe just have a glitch on your insurance, and then there's an earthquake. There goes the house. If you place your sense of personal value and worth to that particular thing, you will never really experience complete peace, because you will always be scared that you are going to lose it. It's an inner job. It's an inside job. And then you create for the fun of it. Why not? You know? Why not? Petra. Thank you, beautiful people. I do appreciate you. I actually had somebody the one time that messaged me, and they were saying to me that this other person who also does lives, this person is copying you. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. And they had all these little clips that they had saved. I watched about 3 or 4, and I was so happy. And the person got so upset with me. I'm like, what up? It's like, aren't you upset? I was like, no. This means that what I'm sharing, somebody's taking it on and sharing it with others. Can't be monopolizing ideas. None of these things are new. These are all ideas that at some point or the other are either heard from someone, learned from someone, channeled through, which is also technically from someone. Nothing is new. You know, this whole thing of reinventing the wheel. All right. That's a good compliment. You're right, Chantal. You know? It's like when you play Mozart music. You're supposed to play the way Mozart wrote it. Can't be pulling a Bach on there. You know, or a Strauss. It's going to be a completely different thing. All right, Petra. Petra, you've got the King of Pentacles. This is such a powerful energy for all of us. The King of Pentacles is an energy, like even when you learn tarot, you usually learn that card last. It's a card that says, thank you, Candace. It's a card that says, you've gone through your trials and tribulations. So if I give you just a very quick run through to tarot. So Major Arcana is a story. Tarot is basically the story of life. Okay? And so Cups, which is all about emotions and feelings and interactions with others and lessons, that sort of thing. That's Cups. Wands, fire energy is inspiration, motivation, the motivation behind your action, which is very important. Swords is normally the lessons, the obstacles, the things that we overcome, the beliefs that we change, and forgiveness. And Pentacles is the benefit of it. King of Pentacles is that energy that says, you know what? Now it's time for you to just stand in your power. To be your power, to know who you are. And here's the thing about standing in your power. You don't need to make a social media post about it. You don't need to let people know, like, yo, hey, yo, I'm standing in my power. Don't you see me? Don't you see my light? You know, it's not necessary. King of Pentacles is when you can be at complete peace with yourself. So Petra, what are you ready to embrace? I mean, I haven't spoken to you in a while, but I know that you do incredible stuff. You know? And sometimes you just have to say, you know what? I'm ready for this, I'm ready for that, I'm ready for the next step. And you are ready for the next step. And here's the thing, we work very hard towards the next step. And when it's time to take that next step, we often hesitate. And that is when things start to go very south for you. Because in the inner world, there is a different reality. And on the outer world, which is the reflection of the inner world, which is now the outdated, older world, we desperately hold on to what is familiar and what is known. And the more we hold on, the less it works. Manifestation is a continual thing of what you want and letting it go. What you want and letting it go. It's like in-breath and out-breath. You know? Your heart expands and it contracts. Yes? We're part of it all. There's no separation. We're everything. And everything is us. And the sooner you can accept it, the sooner your life can get better. Petra, you are ready for amazing things. You are ready to go to that next level. And that next level, I mean, it might really put you in the limelight. Yeah, some people might be jealous. So what? That's their problem. It's not your problem. Why are you concerned about people being jealous of you? You know? If there's one thing in life that really can't bother me is what other people are saying about me behind my back. It ain't my business. Yeah? Nobody's ever going to be at full happiness with you. And here's the thing. Hurt people hurt people. The nasty things that people say about you and try to do on you and pull on you and whatever is because they are hurting. If they weren't hurting, they wouldn't try to do it. The question is, why is it in your reality? What is the hook inside of you that it is hooking on to? That is also something that I teach to people, especially even in Reiki, because, you know, it's scandalous how Reiki has become watered down. Scandalous. You know? Scandalous. As Nikita say, what you want wants you. Life just wants to be expressed. Happiness wants to be expressed. Sadness wants to be expressed. The soul just wants to experience. You know? We call it good and bad, right and wrong, which is why it's so beautiful we got free will. You know? So here's the thing. Let's say something like a cord cutting. Some people do cord cuttings all the time and the same thing keeps on coming back because the belief is still inside. You need something from it, so it will come back. Your mind needs it. So the question is not so much that you've got a negative attachment, the energy attachment, whoever did black magic on you, whatever. That is not so much the question. In actual fact, the person who does the nasty thing to you is actually giving you the opportunity to discover what is the hook inside of me that it attached to. Because an attachment needs something to attach to. You can have the most powerful black magician in the world. If there's not something inside of you that their magic can hook to, then it won't take. Now I've got a little story with a Sangoma, and it's not even something that I planned. It just happened. But at some point I went to go see a Sangoma. Felt so lost. I think it was like 2004 or something like that. And I think I went like 3 times. I gave them money for like the chicken and then a sheep. And when it came to the cow, which was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And they put all the tricks, the suitcase coming out with the money and whatever. And I remember going downstairs because I realized that I was inside. I can't say anything inside because I can pretty much disappear here without a trace. So I come outside and I was like, listen, Baba, this ain't going to happen. And then the guy said to me, listen, you shouldn't mess with this Sangoma. It's a bad idea. This guy's going to send stuff to you. And for about 2 years, I had a lot of bad stuff happening in my life. A lot of bad things. Not even realizing that was what's going on. Until one day I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take my power back. And I didn't even know a drop in the ocean of the things that I know now. I said, I'm just going to take my power back and I'm just going to find out what it is and so forth and so forth and so forth. About 2 years later, so after this initial thing, the one day I walked down the road, so I was living in Cape Town and a cousin of mine was in hospital, so I went to go visit him in the hospital. So, and it was quite close by, so I was walking. So I'm walking down the road and I see this person coming towards me and like completely swerving up. I was like, that's quite interesting. But anyways, and maybe 2 or 3 days passed and then it happened again. And then the one day I was in the shop and then the person bumped into me. I didn't even know it was the same person. And this guy it was quite funny because it's very dark. And he went like, it's probably the first time that I saw like a dark complexion go completely ash white. I was like, bro, what's up? And he was like, oh my God, oh wow. You are powerful, you are strong. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know who you are. And then he actually reminds me that he was the guy who went downstairs with me to the ATM and I told him that it wasn't going to happen. And this Sangoma kept on sending all this bad energy and stuff to me, but it never really fully took until I decided enough of this nonsense. I didn't send nothing back. I never suggest sending energy back. Because when you send energy back now, you're actually doing that as well. Action is action. Apparently, because I didn't know, I just said I'm not taking the energy. So the energy itself went back to the original source. And then I think the Sangoma uses a lot of mirrors. You can do a lot of magic with mirrors. So it reflected back to him. And he quite horrifically died. That's how powerful energy is. But there is also the importance of looking at what is the hook in me. So the person doing the horrible thing to you, they are giving you the opportunity to become aware of the fact that you have a hook inside of yourself and to go and discover what that hook is and through the journey of forgiveness to release that hook and to replace it with a better serving belief. Yeah? And then your life changes because then your physical world reflects the mirror, like the mirror reflects differently. Different inner world, different outer world. Manifestation. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? So Petra, you are ready for amazing things. And when we are ready for amazing things and we don't allow it to happen, we also block the flow. It's like setting up the most beautiful water fountains in the world and then never opening the tap. What is it then? You know what I'm saying? Energy wave healing. How are you doing, beautiful soul? Okay, so you have this card, which is the 7 of Wands. You got a whole reading going on here. You got the 4 of Wands, and then you got the High Priestess. Okay, so whatever that one thing is that you are wrapping your mind around, and we all do this. There's wrapping the mind around something here. It's almost like, I call it putting bandages on something that needs stitches. Just see it for what it is. Acknowledge it for what it is. And that could maybe be that maybe you're not so confident, or maybe you doubt yourself, or any of those sort of things. Here's the suggestion. Find out what is the happiness within the self. What do you get from doing the things that you get, or that you do? So for example, when I started doing Facebook Lives back in, what was it, 2019, you know, I just did it because, you know, there was this looming things about the, about COVID and the lockdowns, and then the lockdown started and I was doing badly. And so I quite honestly started, and still pretty much do it, because I enjoy it, because I like it. And yes, I will get very nervous sometimes. What does this person think and that person think? Because you go to a next level, you're going to be nervous. It just is what it is. It's human. You know? Doesn't mean that you're not enlightened or whatever. Just human. I recently taught an online class through a company, and usually I do my own stuff. So I was very nervous about it because, you know, when it's just me, it's just me. But now I'm doing it for a company. But then I said to myself, okay, before I started, if I go into the space like this, then I won't be able to give my best to those people. So what is it in me? Let's start with me. You know, it's like when celebrities first started coming to me. You get very nervous. And as well, nobody typically comes for reading and hypnotherapy because life is so great. So if I look at this person, it's like, oh my goodness, you're this person, then I'm not going to meet them as a person on a personal level. I'm going to put them on the pedestal they don't want to be put on. And I myself had quite a this gruntling experience with that a little while ago, back in 2024, last year, early last year, when I was looking so desperately for an answer. And everybody told me how amazing I am and how incredible I am. I never doubted my amazingness. But I was confused and I couldn't find my own answer. So, beautiful energy, wave healing. You beautiful, amazing person. What is the itch? Sometimes we gotta scratch the itch. And when you scratch the itch, it might open something completely new for you. Yes? Focus on that inner balance. What do you get from whatever it is? How does it feed your soul? How does it water your plant? And you water your plants? I mean, this is just an analogy. But you know, you water your plants. And then your plants will be good. And then your home will be nice. It's like me, who used to have such a problem with pictures and mirrors and things that are askew. And I realized, but this is not my house. You know? And so sometimes it's all about bringing it to the self. What is this? What is a skew mirror in your life? Or the picture or whatever. Straighten it in your life. What do you get from it? Stay with that. What you get from it, the feeling that you like that you get from it, the inner balance, is going to bring more and more and more abundance into your life. Okay? And also remember that the idea that we have, that other people have of us, is hardly ever true. Hardly ever true. Okay? I mean, let's use a simple example. As much as you are here, you are predominantly here for yourself because you can get something from this, as it should be. If you didn't get anything from here, you wouldn't be here. You don't be like, oh, Adrian is so nice, let me just listen to his gibberish. You'd be like, nah, Maria. You know, unless you maybe have some beliefs that you must stay here because what will maybe I think of you. That sort of thing. Yes. Your life is called your life because it's about you. And the more you can become happy and fulfilled and at peace within your life, the more everything else will work out. Suddenly the person who would never leave leaves. Or what you could never get, you get. Or the person who would never apologize suddenly, you know, owns up to whatever. You know? You are way more powerful than you realize. And I've got this desire to just, for whoever's ready, first I wanted to do it for all of the world. And then I realized I'm placing up expectation on people. So for whoever's ready, I've got the passion to help them to remember who they are. In that way, I'm not really a powerful healer. I'm just a very capable reminder. You know, I'm a good reminder. But you know what? I did this interview the other day, and it was quite interesting. It was with my ThetaHealing coach. And we just really wanted to speak about my journey with ThetaHealing, because my life changed so quickly, so positively, so fast. But it's because I put in the work. And as I say to all my clients, knowledge, it's pointless. You know? It is not knowing something that makes a difference, it's practicing it. That's where the difference comes in. And so she was asking me, where did my life change and my luck change? Because at some point, money was a very sore subject to me. And I say at some point, I mean less than a year ago. And I realized that I was still trying to show to people how capable I am, how amazing I am. So I was coming like this. I wanted something from them. But when I came like this, and I wanted to show them how amazing they are and how amazing they've always been, and to serve in whichever way will be to their benefit, not enforcing my ideas upon them. Everything changed. And here's the thing, Candace, about, you know, taking your power back. You're never without your power. We just sometimes forget that we don't have our power. And here's the thing, if your life is really terrible, if you can come from the idea that you created it. Now I know sometimes it's very hard, because like, why would I create this and da-da-da-da-da. But if you can accept that on some way, yes, Debbie, yes, you created this from your beliefs, from your pathology, from your whatever, and you are curious to find out how. Now things begin to change. First of all, just that begins to shift you for a simple reason. You are no longer putting the blame on other people. It's because of those fuckers. No, it's not. I got you, Debbie. You know? Life's a reflection of you. That's it. We create it all. And the more you can become at peace with yourself, not the government, not your neighbor, not your partner, not your whoever did whatever. You know? I tried to forgive my rapist for years. Didn't work. Still mad. Wanted him to die. But when I said, okay, how did this reflect back on me, about me? And I got to see I was a miserable person who didn't believe I deserved to love. There we go. Dot, line. Dots are connected. And then when you can forgive yourself for the fact that you place yourself in harm's way, then you can understand why you did it. Then it doesn't matter what the other person did. It doesn't even matter whether they are sorry or not. Because it's not about them. It's about you. You know? Yes, I worked at forgiving the person who made me lose my apartment and my money and who stole my stuff and all those things. I did all of the wounds, the this wound and the that wound and the whatever. But when I accepted responsibility for myself, and that only started last year, really, truly, that's where things started to change. When I forgave myself for not knowing any better. And here's the thing, something very powerful I recently learned. I just want to share this with you all. You know, so often we want to forgive the little child that we were that didn't know better. But what are you truly forgiving the child for who didn't know? But if you can meet that child with compassion, and you give them that hug or whatever it is that they need, It changes everything. Because a lot of times when we want to forgive our younger self, it means that the younger self was wrong. You know? But when you can meet that part with compassion, and when I say younger self, it can be you being 79-year-old and what you did like 5 minutes ago. That's your younger self. That's your past life. Yeah? Be kind to yourself. Very kind. You know? Candace. And if you really want to grow, remind others. Remind others. Because as you remind them, you remind yourself and you remember. There's a whole ton of stuff that I remember just through this life. Whole ton of stuff. So it's not like I'm just helping you. I'm so enlightened. We all just human. And here's the thing, don't fall for this enlightenment trap. As long as you're on this planet, you got to keep on growing. You will be triggered. It just is what it is. You know? And when you can find the magic in that, life becomes magical. I get very excited about learning things. Yeah? But when we aim to get to that point where you've got full enlightenment, baba, baba, baba. Helena, I hope you have an amazing evening. Candace, page of wands. What's your passion? What is... this is actually very powerful. I'm so glad this is coming up. Candace, and everybody else. Adrian Nelson too. In a place full of mirrors, there's not one there, but let's assume there is. And I've got a home full of mirrors because I like seeing myself. This is a person who used to hate himself. I love seeing myself. Love it. Okay. Hi, Nina. Nina, you're never late. As my one friend says, a magician or whatever is always on time. Hi, Lande. You didn't miss me, I'm here. Okay? Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. So Candace and everybody else. So, here's the thing about manifestation. Here's how you make sure that you manifest what you want. Place yourself in a nice calm state. Grounding. Take your consciousness up to the Creator. Fill yourself with the light of the Creator. Put a nice bubble of light around you if you want. And then you think about, okay, what do I want for my future? What do I want my future to look like? What do I want it to feel like? So here you go. This is an actual story in Theta Healing Coaching, which I thought it's amazing. So Vina Steibel, who's the founder of Theta Healing, was doing a class, and she speaks about it in one of her books. So she was asking the guy, what do you want? What do you want to manifest? And he said, I would like to manifest myself a big white house by the sea. Great, sounds amazing. How cool. Like, okay. So if you live by the sea and you're having a white house, this house will get dirty. So you will need people, and it's a double story, so it'll be high. So you will need people to clean it, right? And he wants it on the cliff, which means it's going to be dangerous. So it has to be specialized cleaning. Do you want people around you, thing like that? What if they break a window? No, he doesn't want a white house anymore. Now he wants a brown house. Okay, cool. So you still want the big house by the sea. No longer white, it's now brown. And it's no longer plastered. It can be face bricks, so natural stuff can grow in it. Cool. Fantastic. Now we're getting somewhere. So if you live in this big house and the guy is single, if you live in this big house, what could go wrong? And what could go wrong is a very powerful question, because what could go wrong is going to tell you about your beliefs. What is it that's blocking your manifestation? It's like, well, if I have this big house, my mother's going to want to move in. And so will my brother, and my brother doesn't want to be working, or doesn't want to work, and my mother's very judgmental. Do you want them to move into your house? Hell no. Can you say no to them? Hell no. And obviously it goes on and on and on. Eventually this man realizes that he doesn't even want this house by the ocean anymore. And so that is something that you want to look at when it comes to your manifestation. What do you want it to feel like? What do you want it to look like? How do you want it to feel? What is this? The motivation, there's a drive. Wonderful. But what are the beliefs within yourself? And when you say, what is the worst thing that can happen? Your mind is going to tell you the worst thing. And the worst thing is the fear that you have, and your mind is trying to keep you safe, which is what's going to prevent you from manifesting it. And if you do manifest it, you will lose it again very quickly. So here's the thing. People have this idea that when you manifest money, for example, that you are able to keep it. I would manifest thousands and I would never be able to keep it. Because I didn't believe that people who have money are nice people. And to me, being nice was important. So I managed to make lots of money, but I never managed to keep it. Never had rent. Never. Not even nice stuff. I couldn't even tell what happened to the money. It's like it just disappeared. Those are what beliefs will do to you. So Candace, see how that resonates with you. Nikita says, they broke into my house on the 4th of January. They cleaned me out. I'm amazed that I forgave the experience. Sorry. I'm amazed that I forgave the experience. Not a loss, but shedding and releasing things. Yeah. And I am sorry that happened to you, because it is an invasion. But sometimes, we should be careful what we ask for, but also solutions can come in a funky way. I remember back in, this is very long ago, 2003, when I was going to the US for a bit. I was so stressed because I had so many things and I didn't know what to do with them, and I didn't want to part with anything. It was still back in the days of CDs, and I was a waiter often a Wednesday. So every Wednesday, I would go to the store. I'll buy myself a packet of lamb chops. I still love lamb chops. Packet of lamb chops. Back in those days when you could go to the store and you make your own salad, I'll get myself a nice big salad. I love salad. And I get myself a bottle of red wine. And back in those days, we still had Musica in South Africa. I'll buy myself a CD. So in not too long, I probably had about 500 CDs. Plus minus, because obviously sometimes I bought 2 or 3. And so I wanted to get rid of these things, but I didn't want to. But initially I got so worked up that I had to get rid of things and I didn't know how. And so we lived in this commune house, 3 people. And as a person who locks my bedroom door every single time, this one time I didn't lock it and I left. And they broke into the house and didn't went into any of the other 2 rooms, which were also open. They cleaned me out. A lot of the things were in the room, and then funny enough, my CDs were in the lounge. And I had a very nice sort of like a bag that was in the bathroom because I wanted to wash it. So they took the bag in the bathroom that was mine. They took the CDs in the lounge that were mine. Didn't left the TV, left the DVD player, all of those things. Took the CDs that were mine, went into my room and cleaned me out. So what you know what I'm saying? It seems like something so horrible and unfair, but life basically gave me exactly what I insisted upon. That's why you have to be so careful. Your words are powerful. Your words are spells. Very powerful. Thank you, Charlene. I appreciate that. Manifesting a safe space for my kids and I. Thank you. Candace, that's a beautiful one. And when you manifest a safe space, I want to encourage you to feel the feelings. So in a safe space, what is possible? What does it feel like? And you say to yourself, I know what it feels like to feel the safety of the space. I know what it feels like to feel relaxed with this and this and that, and I can do this and I can do that, and I can put this in the yard. And I know what it feels like that, when I'm done, let's say doing a barbecue, that I can just leave the barbecue stand there. I don't have to wait for the thing to cool down and bring it inside because somebody's going to steal it. I know what it feels like. I know the comfort. I know the peace. I know what it feels like. And you envision, you imagine that from the purest part of Creator's light, those downloads, you can call it a download, you can call it a light code, we have all these fancy names for things, because if you name it something fancy, you can make it something fancy, and you can charge a very fancy rate for it. A lot of times that's what it comes down to. But if you can see it, then you can believe it. So what is it that you want? What is it that you need? How is it that you want to feel? If everything is possible, then it's possible for you. And safety is really what everybody wants. Everybody wants safety, everybody wants peace. And now, wants to go for a walk. Let's do one more card. Who we have? Debbie Ice. Debbie Ice. We're going to go for a walk now, bro. I know, it's been a long day, huh? For those of you that might not be subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Or the page. I appreciate it. I've got some last couple of days of April readings coming up. I still need to do the water sign ones. Speaking of water signs, Debbie Ace, you got the Chariot, which is Cancerian energy. Merkaba energy. Archangel Shemuel energy. This is the energy that says to you, listen, you can either give yourself a lot of reasons not to do something, or you can give yourself a reason to do something. Life is going to support either. Oh, it's at Psychic Adrian. Here's the thing. You know, we have this idea that if I do this, universe, source, God, fill in your blank, is going to support it. And if I do that or don't do that, it won't support it. You are life. Life is going to support life. That is why, you know, sometimes we get so frustrated because some people are doing what we would call low-vibing things, and they're successful and they've got a house, and if you've seen, they've got a new car again. Like, seriously now, I'm living a good life. I'm a nice person. Nothing ever works out for me, but everything works out for them. It's not fair. And you know what is typically the difference between yourself and those people? Those people don't focus on you. Those people focus on themselves. Yeah? And they want it. You can say they deserve it. They're coming. Here's the thing about deservance here. Now, let's be cool. Whether you, hello, Ratane. So whether you come from a space of pure, what we would call enlightenment, or entitlement, or whatever, if you believe that you can have it, then you can have it. Then you can have it. That is why, you know, people like to preach like the sinners, they enjoy the sinners. The sinners don't think about stuff. They want it, they get it. You want a Harley Davidson, you buy it. You know? End of story. Why do you think sometimes, for example, the drug lords are so successful? Because they feel like kings. And because they feel like kings and they believe they can have whatever they want to have, they have whatever they want to have. It is always about your beliefs. Always. And I leave you with that, my beautiful people. And I want to thank you for letting me into your lives and wherever you are. And know that it means everything to me. I appreciate it so much. Because as much as I'm speaking to you, I get the opportunity to speak to me. That's how much I appreciate it. I wish you everything beautiful. From my heart, namaste, love and light.